Okay, folks, so let's take a look at the course information sheet just to make sure you've got the gist of how this is all going to go. So the first little bit here is just a blurb about me, right? The fact that I've taught the course for a long time. I am aware that it can look like an intimidating kind of course. So thanks again for signing up for it, deciding to take it. I am committed to guiding you through this often difficult content sensitively. It's some tough material, and so we need to take care of ourselves and each other as we go through this. I see a typo, though. I'm going to get it. Okay. So this course is about, the social psychology behind trying to understand what happened with the Holocaust and with other genocides. And on a smaller scale, how it is we can be awful to each other, right? Like, what are the psychological mechanisms behind cruelty and acts of interpersonal evil, right? So, a little blurb there about how to contact me. I am reachable via email, throughout the work week. I answer emails pretty fast. I will also have office hours via Zoom, and you can set up appointments with me if my times don't work for you. Okay, make sure you are reading your emails. This is an approved way that we communicate with students at MCC and that students can communicate with professors. So you need to be reading your emails in order for that to work. Okay. So the description, I won't read it out to you, but it's taking a look at some of the darkest stuff that we look at in all of psychology, using a social psychological lens and using the Holocaust as a kind of touchstone example for how we can become brutal towards one another, right? So the role of attitude formation, propaganda, prejudice, discrimination, scapegoating, aggression, bystander behavior, and more as we try to come to terms with the events of the Holocaust and the behaviors of people caught up in those events. And by the way, how they are playing out again in a lot of ways on the modern stage, right? So we will be making connections between what happened then and things that are going on right now. Okay. So this is an online course. It's asynchronous, meaning we're not going to meet as a group. You have to keep up with the work yourself, which means doing the readings, watching the lecture videos, doing the tests, turning in the papers, following those deadlines as specified. On average, you can expect to spend about 3 hours a week on the lectures, additional time on readings, homework, and tests. Okay. So by the end of the course, you'll be able to do these things, right? There's 9 course learning outcomes. This is the sort of wish list that I, as the professor, put together, saying, I hope this is what, students walk away with at the end of the semester. I'm not going to read it all out to you, but please do take a look at these. These are the goals for the course, right? Course materials, there are 2 required textbooks. There's Understanding Genocide, The Social Psychology of the Holocaust, and there's Becoming Evil, How Ordinary People Commit Genocide and Mass Killing. Then there's Primo Levi's book, Survival in Auschwitz, which is required if you opt to write the term paper instead of participating in the Holocaust Genocide Human Rights Project. More information on that in a little bit. Okay, so definitely you'll need the first 2 books. Possibly you'll need the third, although it's just a small mass market paperback, so it won't be costing you too much money. You're going to need to be able to get online and go to Brightspace to use Brightspace to take this course. It is an online course. There's a blurb here about being respectful towards each other. That's the watchword here as we interact with one another in the discussion forum, for example. All right, so I'm not going to read all that to you, but please do read it. Attendance and participation, vitally important. Remember that by participating in the weekly discussions, that's how I know you are attending. So I will be taking attendance based on those discussion posts. Okay, you're going to need to do at least one a week. All right, how you're going to be graded. Homework assignments. There are 7 assignments. You have to complete 4 of them, each one being worth 10 points for a total of 40% of your grade. So those assignments are not nothing. They're almost half the course in terms of how they're going to be weighted. These are in the form of brief papers. The due dates are on the calendar. I won't accept late papers, so make sure that you get them in on time. They need to be Microsoft Word documents, double space, 12-point font, 1-inch margins, no bigger than that, no PDFs, no pages files. You need to send them to me as Word document attachments in an email. I need them to be Microsoft Word documents because the way I grade is I go in and I write comments in the margins using the comments function. You can't do that with PDFs, okay? So it's got to be an MS Word document. If you turn in a PDF, I'll just send it back to you saying, please resubmit. Papers are a minimum of 2 pages. Any shorter and points will be deducted. No late papers. And things like typos, grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, clarity, those all count, okay? And points are going to be deducted for mistakes there, as well as factual errors will also get points deducted. Okay. So 40% of the grade is those homework assignments. Then there will be 20% of the grade. Oh, I missed the exams. I was wondering where those were coming in. Let's pop back up here and do the exams. 40% of the grade is the tests. There's 4 tests, each worth a total of 40% of your grade. So each one is worth 10%. Multiple choice, true, false, short answer essay, based on text readings, lectures, film clips, handouts. Okay, if you miss the deadline for an exam, the onus is on you to come and talk to me, send me an email, something, and let me know what happened. And if I find the reason a good enough reason, then we will set up an opportunity to take a makeup test. Okay, so 40% exams, 40% homework assignments, and 20%, the last 20%, is either writing a term paper based on Primo Levi's book, Survival in Auschwitz, or participating in MCC's award-winning student group, the Holocaust Genocide Human Rights Project. Okay, so option 1 is the paper. We're talking about 8 to 12 pages, due the last day of classes. There'll be more information coming out about the term paper as the semester progresses. Option 2, becoming a participating member in the HGHRP. So the HGHRP participants routinely assist with various projects that may include bringing speakers to campus, fundraising for various causes like Water for South Sudan, other human rights related activities. So for example, each fall MCC hosts a Kristallnacht commemoration at which we mark the events of November 1938 throughout Germany. This night of broken glass sent a clear warning about what was to come for Jews of Europe. It was a moment in which the international community could have acted to stop the impending genocide, but it didn't. And each year, MCC hosts a speaker who highlights some facet of international human rights, Holocaust or genocide studies. Students who join the HGHRP help to plan and coordinate this event and other events. So what does it mean to participate in the HGHRP? You'll find ways to actively invest yourself in group projects. To earn that 20%, you got to attend all the student meetings, which happen once a week, starting somewhere around the 3rd week of school. And you can do that in person if you're local and on campus, or you can do it through a Zoom link. And you need to take an active role in planning and executing at least one of the events during the fall. Often students find this to be an incredibly rewarding and enriching experience. So of the 2 choices, if you can, I say become a member of the HGHRP. You will make friends that you might end up keeping for life, and you will do some good societally, right? I understand some people aren't able to do that, so the first option is also a cool option. This is a really powerful book you'd be reading. Okay. And then, for extra credit, remember that there are 7 homework assignments. You have to do 4 of them. You can do more than 4. Any that you do on top of the required 4 will count as extra credit. each worth a maximum of 2 points on top of your final grade, if they're done correctly. There will also be other extra credit opportunities through the semester that I'll be bringing to your attention in those announcements, right, on our landing page. So there's the grade distribution, right? 40% homework assignments, 20% the Holocaust, genocide, human rights participation, or the term paper, 40% the exams. There's the rubric for letter grades. The appendix 1 has all these clickable links for different resources, financial supports, personal supports, again, clickable links for MCC policies, student government information, and that weekly course calendar. Okay. All right, folks, if you have questions, let me know. And we'll be seeing you around the course, right? So dig in there and talk to you soon. Okay, bye for now.